Y'all know what time it is. Black bandana, two black martial artists. Yeah, it's time for Black Market Picks. I'm your host, the master of Black Negro Jiu-Jitsu. I'm joined by Travaz Clark, Divine Prodigy. This is the premium version of UFC Auckland. To all my subscribers, what's good, me guys? Let's get into this, guys. We got 13 fights. I guess like Drake said, let's start from the bottom this week. We got Shayna Dobson at Priscilla Catch a Beating, and or Priscilla Cachoeira. Shayna Dobson 8,600. Cachoeira coming in 7,600. When I look at this fight on paper, I say, duh, Shayna Dobson, right? But I mean, Cachoeira, she's been doing good in fights, and Dobson isn't that great. Why am I favoring Dobson in my head? I'm thinking this fight could score really, really well because Cachoeira isn't good at all. I mean, she's 0-3, but those first two losses, Molly McCann it was a close fight, actually. Carolina, I guess that was a particularly close fight. Like, I just can't count her out. She's even against Valentina Shevchenko. She reported well in that fight, even though she got dominated. But shit, I mean, it's Shevchenko. It's the second best fighter in the world, maybe the best fighter in the world. I like both of these fighters in moderate exposure. And I talked about that in the fighter points projection. Like, I don't want to make this a core play, but it's definitely should be low owned. And I think that the winner of this is going to score really well. Cachoeira would be more valuable in the win, but Dobson could meet value in this fight as well. I think she's technically better everywhere. Like, I don't think technically Cachoeira holds a candle to Dobson. Her loss versus Sabina Mazo, she wasn't that bad. She was the better boxer, just couldn't find her groove. Lauren Mueller, not that bad. Her win against Beck, pretty good, I guess. But I can't favor anybody too much, but I have a feeling this fight is going to be really well scored. Divine Prodigy, how do you feel about this fight?
It wasted too much time talking about this fight, man. Shayna Dobson is going to beat Priscilla Cachoeira's ass. I mean, it's that simple. Priscilla Cachoeira is tough. She's durable. But other than that, we know what's going to happen this fight. And even if it doesn't happen this fight, that just means Shayna Dobson sucks, which is partially true. But other than that, Shayna Dobson, I don't know if she finishes, but she should damn sure rack up a good amount of significant strikes on Priscilla, no matter what she wants to do. Priscilla is just not UFC level. I fail to see why they're keeping her in the UFC other than to take losses.
Duh, she's an
That's
opponent.
it.
She's an opponent.
She's just an
But
opponent.
she's not that bad though, man. I mean, like
she showed some skill in her last fight, but
she's not bad. She's not terrible.
You know, it's just not happening. Shayna Dobson.
I'm picking Dobson, but I think this is if you play one, hedge with the other. Especially in the case of Dobson.
No, you don't. Lobby these people to play Priscilla. No, you don't.
I'm gonna have exposure to both if I play one. If I play Dobson, I'm gonna go down to Cachoeira. If I play Cachoeira, I might not fit Dobson in, but that's how I feel about it. Let's go into our next fight. We got Takashi Soto versus Maki Pitolo. Pitolo, one of the biggest busts in history against Callan Potter in his last time out. He's $7,900. Takashi Sato is $8,300. He was $9,000 against Callan Potter, and he messed up all my lineups. I thought he was going to smash Potter. Instead, he was smashed. Maki Pitolo, in this fight, I think it's the same case. He will smash Sato, or he will have to lose. Like, I can't see him winning the decision. I don't understand how that would take place, that Maki Pitolo, in fact, got a decision over the judoka and the super durable Sato. If this goes to decision, I think it has to be Sato. And I think that would include takedowns, ground control passes, maybe a submission. Otherwise, I see Pitolo finishing, but I see this as a hedge play that I don't see how it doesn't score high. I really like both sides of it. I think both guys are key plays, and I think the winner scores between 95 and 105 points. I think this could be a slate breaker of a fight. I'm ranking it a slate breaker in my fighter projections. I love this fight. I think it's on a winning lineup. Divine Prodigy. What say you?
When we originally talked about this fight on the free version of this podcast, I chose Sato. But now that I think about it, I think we're going to switch to Patolo as well. We know that Patolo burned the hell out of us against Callum Potter. How amazed we are. But I think with that fight, it was UFC jitters, octagon debut. Maybe he blew his load. I think the second go around now he has that first fight out of his system. There's probably no more expectations put upon him. He can now come in here with a clear mind. And if you remember with Sato, Sato was getting his ass beat in that first round against, like literally getting his ass beat. Like we thought he was a lock to win, and of course he did win in the second round.
Against
Finally, when
Ben
he connected on
Saunders,
the
yeah.
when he connected on the chin. But that first round with Ben Saunders, he went to the second round with him. That first round, Ben Saunders put it on him, man, and he almost finished him. And there's no reason to think that honestly, Patolo, who doesn't seem to have the chin problems of Ben Saunders, but more so has a cardio problem. Cardio problems are sometimes an easy type of fix, but it's not. It's not. There's no reason to think that Patolo can't knock this man out now. Judging and based off that first round, I seen against Ben Saunders, where Sato was rocked. I was actually scared. I'm like, no way, Ben Saunders is winning a fight. But this fight, like you said, I don't think I actually want to play Sato anymore because I would think if you're playing Sato, of course he wins probably by decision. But I don't know if he gets takedowns. I don't think it's a takedown like heavy game plan with him, and that's what I think we'll need at
He's a
8,300 with
judo
him.
specialist.
He is, but when is he done takedowns in the UFC so far? He didn't do it his last fight when he lost, and he didn't go against Ben Saunders. Now against Ben Saunders, you don't have to do it. But when did he do it in his last fight? He didn't. He lost the decision, but didn't really get any
No, he
takedowns.
got finished against. Well, no, he lost the decision against Bilal Muhammad. No,
I
he
believe
got
he lost it.
no. He got submitted by Bilal
Oh,
Muhammad.
he got submitted. Okay, I'm sorry, my fault. But yeah, I mean,
That's Bilal Muhammad.
I
He's not taking Bilal Muhammad down. He did
I
get a
just don't.
takedown too.
I just don't think this fight is the only thing he can do. Actually, right, he did get a takedown, but the only thing I think he can do in this fight is wait until Patolo gets tired. But if Patolo has worked on his gas issue throughout this whole entire camp, and he doesn't get tired, I don't see Patolo. I mean, I don't see Sato coming through with the victory here. If as long as every fight plays out on the feet.
Takashi Sato is a more capable version of Callum Potter with better
You might be
grappling.
right because Callum Potter got him down about 3 or 4 times. So
That's
you
what I'm
could be right.
saying.
You
Sato
could be
is a
right.
judo champion. Like, Patolo is gonna knock him out, or he's going down for sure.
Well, we got to see. But like you said, this fight seems to be like a good fight to target now.
Slate breaker. That's what I'm rating it
I wouldn't
as.
call it no damn slate breaker. Stop that. But good fight to target now.
All right, we got our next fight up. We got Angela Hill versus Luma Luke. This is a fight between two Muay Thai stylists. Luke Boumé is very good at Muay Thai, but she's dependent on the clinch. She has no range game. And then as far as her wrestling, her grappling is strong from a Muay Thai sense, but I think from a standpoint of like a mixed martial arts sense with wrestling and back takes, I don't think it's that strong. So I think Angela Hill is a pretty strong cash game play. She should win this fight at range for sure. If it gets in the clinch, she should be fine. She's faced tougher opponents in the clinch and done just good. Remember, she faced Jessica Andrade. She reported well. Luke Boomay is not Jessica Andrade. So I like Angela Hill a lot as a cash game play mostly. But I think that whoever wins this fight will score well. I'm picking Angela Hill to win it. But if Luke Boomay wins, I think that she would score in the 80s in points. There should be a plethora of significant strikes here. These are two strawweight fighters who should be super active. Or are they fighting? Is this a strawweight or at flyweight here? I have to check.
This is at I believe this is at 125, right? No.
Oh, let me check real quick.
I don't think it's no. What is she at? Was it at 115?
It's at 115 still.
It's at 115. Yeah, 115. Yeah. Okay, my fault. 115.
All right, I'm just checking because these fighters fluctuate between weight classes. But I've got, I'm picking Angela Overkill Hill to win over Luke Boumé. But it could be a really close fight that goes to a contentious decision. So I don't know if Angela Hill meets value, but Luke Boone May would definitely meet value to win at $7,300. I don't see how she doesn't. So I'm not on Luma Luke Boone May. I think the chances of winning are slimming because her lack of a range striking game in boxing, which Angela Hill has. But man, this fight should have plenty of significant strikes, and I don't see the finish, but it should be super active from a standpoint of significant strikes landed per minute. So Luke Boone May is a great play in theory. I just don't like her chance to win, so I would have low exposure to her. Divine Prodigy, what do you think of this fight?
I think you're right with the fact that there will be significant strikes aplenty. Angela Hill has always been there to be hit. I believe Loma Luke Boumé, her defense isn't exactly the sharpest either. Um, the thing with this fight is I'm coming in on the other side. I think Loma Luke Boumé is going to win this fight, and I think you should have moderate exposure to her. Of course, like you said, if she wins, she should score about the 80-point range, which is really, really good for 7.3. However, I know you talk about Angela Hill has the range striking. My thing is with Angela Hill, sometimes she doesn't always have the best fight IQ, but you can draw her into the type of fight you want to have. Now, Angela Hill likes being in the clinch, and Luke Boumé loves being in the clinch. She's made her living in the clinch. So I think Luke Boumé will get this fight into the clinch exactly as she wants it, because you can, like I said, you can draw Angela Hill to the fight you want. The type of fight you want to play, she will play that game. So Angela, no, of course, the only thing I worry about might be the strength advantage. It might be a strength thing because Luke Boumé is usually fighting at atom weight, 105 instead of 115. But I think she'll adjust, maybe feel really good not having to cut those 10 pounds or something like that. And I look for, once again, the clinch to play a major factor in this fight, but with Luke Boumé going for some trips, taking the feet out from under Angela Hill. And when that happens, of course, like I've said previously, Angela Angela Hill pretty much on her back is kind of like a fish out of water. Like she usually stays there for the rest of the round. She'll scramble, she'll move, but that round is pretty much done because
What are you talking
much
about? That's
I'm
not
talking about
true.
I'm talking about Angela Hill on the ground. Yeah, Angela Hill on the ground is terrible. Please,
She
please.
she went blow for blow with a black belt in Invicta. Who is that black belt she went blow for blow with? Angela Hill's
Angela
not that
Hill
bad on the
on
ground.
the ground is terrible. She accepts position. She
Random
accepts position.
Marcos got her.
Randa Marcos is trash too. She shouldn't even went to the ground with Randa Marcos. She initiated that damn sequence.
I'm talking about Livia Renato Souza. That's a black belt. She won a split
My God,
decision over.
she's terrible on the ground. She's terrible on the ground. In my opinion,
Who's
she's
ever
terrible on the
exploited her?
ground.
Who do you remember exploiting her on the ground? Because Jessica Andrade took her down and didn't keep her down.
That's because Jessica Andrade
Who is
played
this
with Angela
person?
Hill.
Who is the person that?
Who isn't the person? Is she able to be taken down or not? She's able to be taken down pretty much anytime you want to take her down. Pretty
But
much.
that's not Luca Lumbume's game. She's
I'm telling you that in this fight, it will be her game. In the clinch, it will be her game. That foot sweep, that judo trip. I'm telling you, it's happening. This fight. Why would she stay at range with someone who's longer than her? No, that doesn't make any sense.
what are you talking about?
Doesn't make any sense. How? What are you? We're gonna see. We're gonna see. You
All
think?
right.
You think beating Hannah Cyphers, freaking Carnelosi, and freaking Jody Escabel is worthy? Oh, now you're all of a sudden great. Come on now.
I didn't say she was that great, but damn, give her credit. Anyway, on to the next fight we got. Kai Kara France $9,300 versus Tyson Nam at $6,900. I don't see why Kai Kara France is such a huge favorite. Like
Yeah, this line is off.
he has not looked that good, and then Tyson Nam has never looked that bad. Um, I don't know when Kai Kara France has ever been. I mean, I guess Raleigh on Paiva was a much better opponent than we could have estimated at the time. Like at the time, we were like, "Who is this scrub?" Apparently, he's not a scrub. Apparently, he's a really
I
good fighter.
told y'all to play goddamn Piper last game. I told y'all,
You
motherfuckers.
did. You did tell us
I
that.
fucking told y'all.
But Kai Kara France, so Paiva was a good win. He lost to Moreno. I just don't see. I see this fight going to decision. I think Tyson Nam is a pretty well-rounded fighter. I don't see why this pricing is like it is. I don't think Kai Kara France can meet value, but I think Tyson Nam could and win. And I think this fight goes to decision. So I like Tyson Nam better as GPP play, but I don't plan. I've got low exposure at this point to both fighters. I'm not extraordinarily interested in either. Kara France would be my pick to win, but I mean it's not like a blowout for me. So $9,300 is unacceptable. Tyson Nam at $6,900 is intriguing in a fight that I think should be a decision. Travaz Clark, what do you think of this fight?
Yeah, the fight is a full on. The fight is a full on fade for me. Um, Now I won't be playing Tyson Nam because I do think Kai Car France wins, but I'm not paying 9.3K for Kai Car France when I pretty much know the fight's more than likely going to end in a decision. Um, Now with this case, I think the thing that Kai Car France will struggle with here is the pressure of Tyson Nam, and I honestly think that Kai Car France wins this fight solely based on being the better athlete. We know that Tyson Nam is getting up there in age, so the young youth that Kai Car France still has would allow him to pretty much be more dynamic and the better athlete in this fight. And I think he wins solely based off that. Other than that, the fight is too damn close. It should not be this type of price discrepancy. And Tyson Nam, even though he's pretty much living off that Eduardo Dantas knockout victory, he hasn't he's looked decent, but he's not. It was just his night that day. He hasn't looked good since that day, or hasn't looked like he was looking that day. So I think it's Kai Car France just based off athleticism. But other than that, this fight is a fade, honestly.
I can't get into this one. I can't get into Kara France, but Nam
Yeah, if
is
you want to
like
say it's a cash game play, then you can do that too. But I think even then his score is too low.
no, not for cash. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I don't think his upside or I don't like it. Yeah, Nam is live at low exposure in GPPs. Let's go on to our next fight. We got Kenan Song versus Callum Potter. I'm picking Song at $9,000 to finish Potter at $7,200. But I thought it was Yadong Song at first, but I forgot there's
With
another
what
song.
strike?
Huh?
With what strike is Song going to finish Powder? What
Um,
strike? What strike is Song going to throw that Patolo didn't, bro?
Patolo might be overrated. It might just be the case. I mean, Potter he's got veteran craft and he was able to avoid getting KTFO'd. I don't know how, but I was not impressed by Mr. Patolo at all. Potter is he not that good? I know he's not that. He can't be that good. He's got 8 losses. He's 18.
Neither of them are.
Yeah, but Jalen Turner put him to sleep. Jalen Turner's okay. Marcin Hill, okay. No shame in that. I just, yeah, I gained a lot of respect for Potter in the last fight, but I've just got Song sparking him out, and I really like Song, but the more I think about it, I'm like maybe not, because if Patolo could do it, I think Patolo is a more powerful puncher than Song. So if he could survive that and report well in that, maybe he can't hear, but I like Song to get the knockout. So I really like Song at $9,000. Um, I'm not locking him in, but I really like him. I like a good healthy exposure in GPPs to him. Callum Potter, I'm not liking him, but he could win. Song, this isn't your dong song. So if it were your dong, this would be a murder. But yeah, Divine Prodigy, what say thou?
I'm gonna go Callum Potter's way. I don't like the fight. I don't like this fight at all. I don't think Kenan Song can do it. He's trash, honestly. Don't know how he has his wins in the UFC. Apparently, he has a bit of punching power to him. Other than that, he has nothing to write home about. Callum Potter got finished against Jason Turner. Took heavy punches against Patolo. Proved he can take some punches, though. I think those same punches are going to be the ones he gets hits with against Kenan Song, but he wades through them. And in that second or third round, the grind of Callum Potter will eventually pay off, and maybe he doesn't really get a takedown. Maybe he gets one or two, probably in rounds 2 and 3 combined. But I think just the inactivity of Song due to the grinding of Callum Potter is what gets Potter the win. I'm not gonna play this fight. I guarantee maybe if 7,200 was all you had, it's between like Potter and KK. Maybe I'll choose Potter because you're probably more confident that he wins in comparison to KK. But other than that, I wouldn't play this fight, and I'm not touching Song with a 10-foot pole. If he beats me, he beats me.
Okay. All right. I like exposure to Song. I think that he has. I think he's particularly promising in this fight. This is one of the worst opponents he's ever faced. Bobby Nash was better. Aldana was as good or better. I like Song here. Let's go on to the next fight. We got we got Jake Matthews versus Emil Weber. Meek here, $9,100 for Matthews. Meek for $7,100. I think this is a closer fight than the odds estimate. Meek's been out a long time. He is a mystery at this point. Who knows what he's bringing to the table if his takedown defenses improve. And then will Matthews come out here? We know he's fighting close to home here. Will he try and please the crowd and brawl with Meek? Because Meek is pretty impressive on the feet, actually. And he's not that bad on the ground. I mean, he's been taken down by Fabinski and Usman, but they couldn't hold him down. So he's not a dead duck on the ground. Meek isn't that terrible a fighter, man. And Jake Matthews is neither Usman or Fabinski with the relentlessness of his takedowns. If this is on the feet, I have Meek as being the superior striker. I do. I think Meek is more powerful, and I think he's more crafty, and he does more damage. So I like Meek at $7,100. I like Matthews too. I think this is a great fight. The problem is Matthews should win this fight, and if he does win it, doesn't he win it with a lot of grappling? Because I think if it turns into a strike fest, it's Meek all day. I'm not super high lock him in on Matthews. I'm not. I'm just not that guy because Matthews isn't the quality of grappler of Fabinski or of Usman. And if we look at his fight metric stats, he's not really that impressive of a takedown per minute grappler. So I can't get all invested in Jake Matthews as his locking low play because I'm not sure that he's going to do it with his grappling. And on the feet striking, I'm not sure that does he outstrike me if he doesn't consistently get takedowns, which he's never really done in his career. I mean, we look at his last let's look at his last 6 fights. 0 takedowns against Auckland, 0 takedowns against Rocco Martin, 1 takedown against Shinzo Anzai, 2 against Jing Liang Li, 4 against Velichkovic, 3 against Holbrook in a fight where he lost that fight. Of course, he lost to Kevin Lee. None against Johnny Case. When has he ever been this takedown machine exactly? Why is everybody so high on Jake Matthews? I like him a lot, but I like the fight as a whole. I'm not locking Jake Matthews in because I think Meek can win. Travaz Clark, what do you think of this fight?
I'm gonna go the way of Jake Matthews, and I like him obviously a little bit more than you. I just think it's all about the spot here. What has Emil Mack shown us in the last 4 years? Really, he's been pretty much inactive. I mean, we know Jake Matthews pretty much fights only whenever they come to Australia. But Emil has power, and I think that's kind of all he has is power. But other than that, I think pretty much everything that Emil Mack throws, he throws with bad intentions, but he also throws it leaving an opening for a counteractive takedown or to be taken down just in general. And I think that, of course, Jake Matthews will want to put on a show for his Australian fans that he always wants to do that every time out. But I think in this case specifically, he will come out and look for the takedown. It will not be a striking affair like his last match was against Askham, but it will be a takedown, maybe get a quick submission type of thing. Like I said, it's all about the spot, and I think in this spot here, Emil leaves too many openings for a decent fighter like Jake Matthews who has a wrestling game to not exploit. And Jake Matthews can make this a short night. Just take him down. Honestly, don't try to prove any point. Like you said, if it stands, uh, Jake Matthews is at risk of being knocked out because Emil Mack has power and he just might outstrike Jake Matthews. But other than that, the game plan should be simple here. The path to victory cannot be any more clear. When he throws one of these off the wall strikes that leaves him off balance, you take him down. When you take him down, you do what you do. You do what your body is used to you doing. So I do like him at 9,100.
Me too.
Sometimes you don't feel good about Jake Matthews because you never know which one you're gonna get. But I think in this case we're gonna take the risk based off the deficiencies and the vulnerabilities of that Emil Mack has shown thus far.
The mech that fought about 2 years ago. That's my thing. Who is he now? We don't know. And if he's improved his takedown defense, or I mean, it was elite grapplers taking him to the ground, but if he's improved, I think he's a more dangerous striker. So that's why I'm saying don't lock Matthews in. Play both sides of it. It should be a high scoring fight though. All right, let's go on to our next fight. We got Jalen Turner versus Josh Coulibaly. Turner's coming in at 8,800. Coulibaly is coming in at 7,400. And I can't get into Turner at this price against Coulibaly. I watched him fight. He looks decent. He looks like he's got a decent skill set. Turner is a really promising prospect back, but he's just a decent fighter at this point. There's nothing elite about his game. He doesn't have elite grappling. He doesn't have elite striking. That's why he's taking losses to the Steamroller Favola and Vicente Luque. But he did get Callum Potter and knock him out. I don't like Jalen Turner at this price. He's, I guess, contrarian. But Coulibaly, I don't know what he is. I know I was watching him. He's not a bad fighter. That's as much as I know. He's pretty well-rounded and he seems promising. I can't say. Maybe Turner sparks him out because Turner is a super promising prospect, but who can say? So I don't like heavy exposure to Turner. I like Jake Matthews and Kenan Song and even Angela Hill better than Turner in this price range. Coulibaly is an unknown commodity, and at $7,400, if you only have $7,600 or $7,500, why not take some shots on him? You know, I'm not telling you to plug him in definitely not over Paul Felder, not necessarily over Luke Boom May, but there's man, I mean, he's unknown. He could be a beast or something, and he could come in here and spark Jalen Turner out. We don't know. So I like Coulibaly, Jalen Turner, not so much. Travaz Clark. What say you about this fight?
I see what you're saying, and you really can't trust Jalen Turner. We know that. However, I feel like this spot is a great spot for Jalen Turner, only because I feel like he's pretty much better in every way, or better in everything that Coulibaly would try to do. But I think the most of the thing here is that Coulibaly isn't really a wrestler. I don't think in this fight he's going to come looking for any takedowns. Like Matt Frivola, we didn't think he was going to wrestle, but we've seen that, okay, he can wrestle. Coulibaly, I don't think he has that type of wrestling game in him. And if you don't have the wrestling game to make it a Frivola type of fight and beat Jalen Turner that way, you're going to rely on the striking. And we know that Jalen Turner is very powerful with that 6'3" frame. He's very powerful with his limbs. So I just don't know if first of all, that would be the smartest route for Coulibaly to take. But he can't rely on the wrestling. It has to be a stand-up affair. And in that type of battle, like I said, it's all about the spot. I think Jalen Turner can get a first-round knockout and put up some points. And Coulibaly hasn't beaten the best competition. I mean, the last guy he fought was 8-9, and there was another guy who was about 14-25. So I mean, like these people he's beating, they don't have the best record. I mean, I think his best win was against a guy named Rodolfo Marquez, and he was like 25-13. And that's a good win, but other than that, the rest of the guys aren't really nothing to write home about. So it's not saying he's not necessarily a can crusher, but he's getting these hand-picked opponents that he knows can probably make him look good. So I don't know it's too much of an unknown. But like I said, going off what I've seen thus far, if this is a guy who wants to stand up and trade, that's not the best course of action for Jalen Turner. It hasn't proven to be the best course of action. But yet we also know that Jalen Turner sometimes has chin issues, and you can crack him. Now, if it's at Luka, it took a little minute to put him away, but he did it. And if Koulibaly has the type of power that Vicente Luque has, he could very well be a awesome GPP play and just turn out the lights of Jalen Turner. But I think the books have made Jalen Turner, even with despite everything, pretty much a 2-1 favorite for a reason. Like they see something that we should be seeing as well. So I mean,
You mean the
it's very
betting
tricky
public?
when
The
you're
betting
dealing with a
public
type of
sees
fight like this.
bullshit all the time. Just like that
Yeah.
that what's her name? The Macy Barber bullshit. That was trash.
Yeah. But you called that one, right? You called that.
Yeah, I told you so.
Yeah, fuck you. But yeah, so I mean, you got these types of fights, and these are the ones that are crazy. But we know what we're gonna see from Jalen Turner. We know that first round he's gonna come out fresh, long, and I just think Jalen Turner gets the knockout. But if he doesn't get the knockout, then you definitely should have some coolie bow, depending on how many lineups you play, just to offset, or get those points in case he does finish him.
Okay, let's go on to our next fight here, which shall be. We got Kevin Aguilar versus Zabiru Tukhugov. Kevin Aguilar is going to come in at $8,100. Tukhugov is coming in at $8,100. You know LeRoiStepfon's rule of his price to even play it even, but I can't get really excited about this fight. Like I don't see the upside in it really, really not really. Like I just yeah. I mean, if you play it, I would just be safe and play it even, but I don't see this scoring well. Divine Prodigy, what say you?
What fight are we on again, bro?
Zabera Tukhugov versus
Oh
Kevin
yeah, versus
Aguilar.
Kevin Aguilar. Oh yeah, this fight is a stay away fight for me. I don't even know who I believe would even win. I don't think this fight finishes. I don't think it has any type of pass game or GPP upside. This fight is it'll probably be entertaining to watch, maybe based off to Hugov. We know he likes to maybe kick, and he's pretty hyperactive in there. Versus Kevin Aguilar, who's pretty much plant your feet, let's stand and bang, pretty solid takedown defense for the most part. But other than that, this should be a stand-up affair, and just shouldn't score well no matter who wins. So yeah, I'm gonna skip this fight altogether. If I have to lean just to make a pick for the sake of the show, I'll go to Hugov, just on the fact that, like I said, Kevin Aguilar is a more so plant your feet, punch type of guy. Maybe the kicks of Tuhugov score more points or something like that, or he can dart in and out with a jab, then kick the legs, something like that, that Kevin Aguilar stands so heavy on. But other than that, like I said, we shouldn't play this fight. I don't even care if it's priced to even play it even. You shouldn't play this fight. You should just cancel it off. So we have 12 fights instead of 13.
Yeah, I don't like that fight too much. Next fight up, we got Magomed Mustafa at $8,400 versus Brad Riddell at $7,800. And I really love this fight, man. I really like it. I think it's got a lot of upside. I think it's going to score well one way or another. Riddell is the striking coach he's over at Israel Adesanya's them camp, I believe. And Magomed Mustafayev, he put a top flight kickboxer to sleep last time out against Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev was supposed to be the man and a bag of chips, but he destroyed Fiziev within a round. So I really like this fight, and I think somebody is going to get beat up in a way that creates really promising and great scoring DraftKings lineups. So I like both sides of it. At this point, I like Mustafayev because I think he has some grappling to lean on, and we saw Jamie Malarkey get takedowns on Riddell. So I think Mustafayev is going to get takedowns on Riddell. That's my take on it. I've got, that's the way I think it plays out. That's just me though. I like both sides of it, $8,400 and $7,800, but I don't know. What about you, Travaz Clark? What do you say?
This fight is a great fight. I think no matter who wins, you should target it. We know that Brad Riddle is the city kickboxing head coach. He's a great striker. We know that Magomed Mustafayev, he's been out for a minute. He came back against Fiziev, put him out cold. We know he likes his spinning strikes. We know pretty much every punch is thrown with bad intentions. So in that case, it's like who wins here? You think there's gonna be a finish? I honestly think there's gonna be a finish too. If I had to choose who's more than likely to finish it, probably Magomed Mustafayev. Um, and honestly, I think I leaned Brad Riddle when we did this free version, probably more so based on the price. But I think for an official pick, I'm gonna pick Magomed Mustafayev only because Brad Riddle is there to be hit. But as far as that fight, I don't know who's gonna win. Really, I think you play this fight uh, even exposure all the way around. If you have a lineup with Magomed Mustafayev, you make one with freaking Brad Riddle. I don't know if you replace them or you make a whole new lineup, but I think you have to have the winner of this fight in order to hit the optimal lineup. So this fight is a good fight to target, though. Like you said, GPP definitely for sure. But I'm gonna target Mustafayev. Hopefully, it's not like some type of spinning kick, but just a regular old punch or something like that that puts Riddle out. But Riddle, he's gonna bring some heat to Mustafayev. This is a great fight.
I don't know if it necessarily ends up on a winning GPP or not, but I definitely like it. I think the slate breakers are Hooker Felder, blah blah blah. Slate breakers are Hooker Felder, Rogerio de Lima Sosoli, and I mean I like Mustafa Riddle, but I like Patolo versus your boy better. So Yan, or it's not Yan, but Soto, Takashi Sato. So those are my slate breakers. But Mustafa Riddle is, I like that fight too. I just don't know how high it scores because both these guys are pretty high level strikers. Um, let's go into our next fight. We've got Rogerio de Lima, Marcos Rogerio de Lima at 8500 dollars versus Ben Sosoli at $7,700. And I like this fight a lot. Marcos Rogerio de Lima has had very few of his fights in his career not finished. I think he's been like to two decisions, one in the UFC. Every other single fight where the winner loss that he's ever had has been a finish up to this point. I cannot see this fight not finishing because usually the Lima fights do finish. So I don't see how this doesn't finish because usually the Lima fights 90% of the time do. This is a heavyweight. So Soli has apparently never been finished. But yeah, I am not. I don't know. Or Sosoli had to eat. I know Greg Hardy didn't finish him, and I think Greg Hardy is a more capable finisher in a way than Rogerio de Lima. But yeah, man, I just have this fight as a slate breaker. I have this making a winning lineup. I think somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to score over 105 points. I don't know if it's Delima or Sosoli, but I want both sides of the fight. I do. I gotta have it. Divine Prodigy, what do you say?
Interesting enough, I think this fight is a fade as well. Now I know that's probably not popular opinion. Not popular opinion. Why does that shit happen every goddamn time I talk? God damn. Um, it's not popular opinion. However, I think that Sasoli isn't isn't anything to write home about. Rogerio de Lima, we know the book on him pretty much. Well, honestly, it used to be the book, honestly, because he used to be what one round of gas, then second and third has nothing left. But if you notice in his last fight, once he went up to heavyweight, he actually fought a patient game plan. He didn't come out guns a blazing. He came out, he looked for his takedowns, and he got a decision win that way. So if he's on this new type of patient, uh, patient type of fighting, he should definitely beat Ben Sassoli. But the only thing is, you wonder how how much it scores. You know, maybe getting one takedown per round. Like you want to believe that if this is gonna happen, he's gonna need a finish, or maybe he's gonna finish Sassoli by submission. Sassoli's takedown defense is pretty terrible. However, I just don't know. Even if in a patient decision victory, if we're talking about Delima getting that decision victory, if he pays off enough for 8,500. So I mean, with this fight, like you said, usually one would think it's going to finish, but I don't think it finishes. I think if Sassoli wins, I haven't seen Rogerio Delima at least knocked out too many times. He's been submitted, but I don't think I've seen him really knocked out. And then Sassoli, I don't believe he's ever been knocked out either. So if you have these two fighters who's never been knocked out, and we have Rogerio De Lima who's not gonna come out guns a blazing like he usually does, then it just makes for an interesting fate where everyone else will be playing it. I'll be staying away, and of course, you could get burned or you could stay ahead of the crowd. You think it's going to be on the optimal lineup. I obviously think it's not going to be there. So
But you gotta have exposure. Don't if you got enough lineups, don't
if
fade
you
this thing.
yeah, if you have enough lineups, I think you play Rogerio de Lima. I don't think you put any money on Sassoli. I don't think Sassoli's going to win. But I think based off, like I said, the last fight that we've seen from Rogerio de Lima, because you're pretty much only as good as your last fight. His last fight was, of course, was up at heavyweight, and he's pretty much a shorter heavyweight. But he had a patient game plan where he just looked for takedowns the all 3 rounds and tried to just grind it out the win that way. So I mean, if that's the new Rogerio de Lima that we're gonna see, then he he may not have what it takes to score that highly here. The Rogerio de Lima that faced Adam Wizoric, I don't think so. I mean, of course he lost to Stefan Struve in that last fight, and we thought maybe he could have beat Struve, but Struve is still he still can get some wins here at heavyweight. We know heavyweight, your power is pretty much the last thing to go. You can be 40 or 39, 38 and still succeed in that weight class. So I mean, it's a tricky fight, but I think it's one worth fading. You say you have exposure. I'm saying temper your expectations, because if you have exposure to this fight and it doesn't go the way you plan it to, I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. So the pick is Rogerio de Lima by patient takedowns throughout 3 rounds, but I don't think he scores enough to pay off his price tag.
All right, we got next fight. We got Jake Matthews at $9,100 versus Emil Weber Meek at he is going to be $7,100. I feel like I just talked about this fight. Did we already do this fight? My bad. I'm tripping. Hold on. I'm reading it on the DraftKings side. I'm not using the other side of this. But let me go ahead and get the tapology real quick and do it in the order they have it. So we got Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Yan. I'm sorry, guys. I got crossed up because my browser went down. Kowalkiewicz coming in this fight at $7,000. Yan is coming in at $9,200, and I don't like Yan because I just don't believe she's that much better than Kowalkiewicz, and I don't see her scoring meeting value at $9,200. I don't plan on having much exposure. Kowalkiewicz is interesting because I think she's too cheap. I think this line is too wide, and I think she could win. And I think he goes to decision. And in the fight that goes to decision at this weight, I think 9,200 in contrast with 7,000 is way too much of a difference. So I don't like Yan at all. I like Kowalkiewicz a lot as a dog to get exposure with similar dogs in a similar place, like Meek and well, not Felder. I like Felder, but Potter is kind of in that class. Maybe Cutie Bow, he's in that class. I like all those guys down there. So I don't like Jan. I like Kovacevic. Am I crazy, Divine Prodigy?
You're not crazy, only because in this fight, Jan really's not uh, whatever, however you say her name, she's not really gonna be looking for like any takedowns. This will be like a stand up affair, and of course, in a stand up affair, we know with KK's credentials, she has a chance against anyone. She still has the striking acumen. The only thing is, she seemed like she's just getting slower. Like she doesn't have it anymore. She's about what 34, 35 years of age. Uh, was once a title contender, but now it's just like she's just losing a step. And I think in this fight, the thing that will play off the most will be that lost step factor. I think Jan will just be too fast for her. She'll pop out that jab and snap Kovacevic's head back and just keep it at range and just float around for 3 rounds. I don't think you can play Jan at 9,200 for GPP, but I think for a cash game option, whether you're playing KK down low or whether you're playing Jan up high, I think this is a cash game fight. But other than that, for GPP, if you're trying to take down first, you can pretty much scratch this fight off. Uh, of course, you don't want to underestimate KK because, of course, at any point she could turn it around. But I just don't think this is the fight. She's still fighting the upper echelon of fighters. This isn't like she's facing Priscilla Cachoeira, where if she was or something like that, we can easily be on KK. But this it's always about the spot, and in this spot, I just don't think she's quick enough to keep up with what the pace and the speed that Jan is going to have for her. So I'm going to pick Jan to win the fight by decision. And it'll be what I think KK's like fourth loss in a row, which would be pretty tough considering the mountaintop she was once on.
Okay. All right. I don't know. That's a hard call for me. Let's go to our next fight. We got Alexi Juk versus Jimmy Crute. And in fact, oh shit, what is going on here? What is this? Hold on, Travaz. What the fuck? No, I don't want to update Google. What the fuck? This is so stupid. Right in the middle of the podcast. That's what was fucking everything up. Anyway, we got Aloysi Juk at $8,200 versus Jimmy Crute at $8,000. And um, I don't know about this fight. It seems like a fight that goes decision. Two equally skilled opponents. I'm not super excited about either one. I just say if it's price even, play it even, and get done with it. That's that's my opinion on it. Yeah. What do you think of this fight?
What fight are we talking about? Crute. What fight is this?
Crute
Crute versus
versus
Macau
yeah.
versus Lord Macau. This fight, man, I think this is Macau's retribution fight. I mean, he burned his soul in his last fight. You thought he was gonna beat the snot out of OSP, and OSP came through with a Von Prue joke, a choke. So it's kind of we were all surprised because OSP is usually that gatekeeper. You get by him, you're pretty much ready for the title. People were trying to thrust Mikhail Ozalanchuk up there. I know you've always been against uh uh you've always been against him ever since the win against Khalil Roundtree where you're like he was getting his ass beat the whole time anyway. But in this fight, I don't really know how I want to call it. I think if Lord Mikhail comes out, he's going to come out guns blazing, and maybe he'll get tired again, and then that's when Jimmy Crute can exploit and look for some takedowns and finish this fight. But I don't know. This fight may be sneaky, and I think I lean Jim Crute's way. I don't know if Mikhail will be the same as he once was, but the fight is pretty hard to read for me. and I really don't know how to call it. I think this fight, like I said, depending on who wins, if you call this fight right and you have a fair conviction with who you're playing and why you're doing it based off your research and analysis, then you may have a leg up on everyone else. But me personally, I don't really know who's gonna win. I lean Jim Crute. I don't think that I think that he'll outlast the pressure and the punches that Macau will bring, and then once he does that, he'll look for a late submission. But I really don't know about this fight. I really don't know. It's kind of like similar to the Magomed Mustafa Brad Riddle fight, where I'm just pretty much kind of torn on who's gonna win. But I lean Crute, but I think this fight is sneaky for GPPs. You can't, of course, you can't erase every fight, but I think this fight be one of them fights where it's like it could be some points scored that you might not have expected. How about that?
True, 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 true. I like it better than the Teku fight for sure. So yeah, let's go to our next fight. We got to end this off. We got Paul Felder versus Dan Hooker. Paul Felder $8,700. Or Paul Felder $7,500. Hooker at 87. I don't like Hooker at all personally, but a responsible GPP strategy will have you equally exposed to each fighter there in the main event. I think the winner is on the main event lineup. Me, I don't like Hooker at all. I feel like taking a stand on Felder and just saying screw Hooker for the most part. But if he wins, he'll be able to win it line up. So you got to kind of go with him. Travaz, how do you feel about this whole thing?
I don't know why Felder is the underdog to Dan Hooker. Um, this fight, I understand Dan Hooker. While he was on a roll, Edson Barboza gave him a beating that might have changed the trajectory of his career. I understand they're all going to probably be peaking at the same time, especially Brad Riddle and Hooker, fighting on the same card. But this is Paul Felder. This nobody wants to fight Paul Felder, and of course you have to commend Hooker for wanting to step up and fight Felder, but I don't think this is a favorable matchup for him. Of course, I think over 5 rounds, this is definitely a stand-up affair, and I think if anyone's looking for takedowns, it will be Hooker, but Paul Felder has some sneaky takedown defense in his own right. But if we do see this fight as just a 5-round stand-up war, I don't see how you can't favor Felder. Felder has the durability that Hooker pretty much, I want to say Hooker doesn't have. Now, of course, Hooker's only been really finished once, and I think that was against Barboza, but Felder hits hard, man. Whether it's with the elbows, the shins, the punches, he hits pretty damn hard. And I think Hooker has tall man defense, and he's always been there to be hit. I mean, he has 9 losses out here. Um, so I think if there's a finish, it's going to be Felder. I don't think Hooker has what it takes to put out Felder's lights. And I think one underrated thing that people don't pay attention to is the fact that Paul Felder, at one point we thought, okay, Felder has fight IQ issues. What does he do? And he's making some bonehead decisions at the most inopportune times. That was early in his career. But now that he's transitioned to a UFC analyst and he's out there analyzing these fights as they happen, you've seen that his fight IQ acumen is growing immensely. And I know uh, he's called a few of Dan Hooker's fights, and you can see that, okay, as he's looking at these fights, not only is he reviewing them, but he's also he's seeing how he can beat this guy. This guy could be a future challenger for me. How can I look for exploits in his game, whether it's leg kicks, whether it's an opening he may see whenever Hooker throws a certain strike. That reviewing those types of remarks and tape versus along with reviewing who your opponent has recently fought, that type of wisdom and knowledge proves invaluable in a fight like this, a 5-round fight especially. um I just don't think with all these factors, I don't see how the bias has Hooker as the favorite. It should be Paul Felder. And of course, you want to put the MMA math in there. Look what Paul Felder did to Edson Barboza. Look what Edson Barboza did to Hooker. But of course, MMA math is pretty damn useless at this point. I just don't see how Hooker wins this fight. Maybe he'll have to get a submission with a takedown, but I don't see how he even gets the fight to that point either. I have Paul Felder locked in. If he loses, I lose. Pretty much that's how I'm gonna look at it. But Paul Felder is a smash isn't a smash spot, at least in my mind. And for 7.5K, I don't really care. It's 5 rounds of Paul Felder striking. He doesn't really strike at a high clip per minute, but I don't think it matters honestly. So I'm gonna pick Paul Felder to beat Dan Hooker.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it as well. And at the end of the podcast, Google Chrome comes up, but this is mostly an audio deal anyway. It's no big deal. I didn't want to have to stop and restart another file. That's why the DraftKings slow video is down at the end. But yeah, guys. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. I hope it was some great information on here for you guys. Hope you will check out the GPP expert rankings, the cash game rankings, and all the other things we're going to be presenting at the School of Black Negro Jiu-Jitsu to finish out the week. You'll be getting notifications when all the content posts, so don't worry about that. And just make sure you check out the cash game rankings.